Here's a very interesting question to think about. If the sun is in the center of our local planetary system and the planets kind of surround it, if here is the Earth and here is the sun, we know that both exert a gravitational force. The Earth is somewhat massive and therefore it pulls. We know the sun is far more massive, so therefore it pulls even more. So if the Earth is pulling this way and the sun is pulling this way, why doesn't the Earth and the sun pull closer and closer and closer and closer until the Earth is subsumed, burnt to a crisp by the sun? The answer to this question is something called centrifugal force. You see, the Earth is hurtling around in an orbit around the sun. The force is pushing it outwards. And because it's spinning this way, the force keeps it in an orbit, and that orbit power, energy, keeps it moving around and keeps it away from the sun. But here's the interesting part. The sun is over here. The Earth has to be orbiting at exactly the right speed. If in fact the Earth were orbiting a little bit too quickly, it would hurtle out into space and we'd be billions of miles away. If we were hurtling a tad too slow, then the centrifugal force would be overcome by the gravitational force and the Earth would be subsumed by the sun. It just so happens to be that the Earth is moving at exactly the right speed so that its centrifugal force is properly balanced against the gravitational force, the exact right speed. But here's where things get very interesting. Jupiter is far more massive, but far more distant. So it has to be moving at the exact correct speed so that its orbital force is properly balanced against the gravitational force of the sun. Mercury is far less massive, but far closer, and therefore it has to be moving at a different speed. Each of the planets orbiting at exactly the right speed so that their centrifugal force properly balances the gravitational force. But here's where things get very interesting. Our entire planetary system has to be held in place, otherwise it'll crash into who knows what. Well, it happens to be that our local planetary system is orbiting at some 600,000 miles an hour, circling around the Milky Way galaxy at the exact right speed so that its centrifugal force perfectly balances to some opposing other gravitational force. But you see, our entire galaxy is filled with quite a number of stars, about 100 billion of them, and each of them is in motion, and each of them is moving at the exact right speed so that its centrifugal force is perfectly balanced against some opposing force. But the known universe is comprised of 100 billion galaxies, each of them moving, each of them orbiting, everything in perfect harmony and balance. And when a person contemplates that, they should fall on their face and say the words, Hashem Elokim, this is majestic, this is phenomenal, beyond human understanding, and surely beyond human capacity. And when a person does that, they recognize the greatness of their Creator, and they're ready to understand what Hashem did when Hashem created the world, and they then have an eye glimpse to the greatness of Hashem.